Another beautiful Arctic crisp winter Sunday evening in our multiple legs on Sunday night primetime. John Jacobson here in studio with Macy Raver, All-American, Brave, and Engineer Sean Torres with my esteemed friend Dr. Peter W. Tinsman, MD. You are listening to Boomer Takes with Pete and Jake, and man, we are really rolling into the Christmas season here. Pete, I got an early Christmas gift. Cataract surgery. I can see color and light again. It's incredible, Pete.
That is absolutely fantastic. Your vision had to have been not that great if prior. You notice a huge improvement by having it?
The biggest visceral thing is brilliant colors and lighting again. I can't believe how much I missed. And now it's making me just chomping at the bit for the follow-up on the right eye in about 10 days. I can't wait. It's just been transformative. What a great thing. Praise be to God.
And what do you say to people who are maybe a little nervous about having it done? How
it's like flying to Chicago from Omaha. It takes longer to board and take off and land than it does to just crest at 30,000 feet past Des Moines and Cedar Rapids. My goodness, it was a piece of cake.
That's a piece of cake. So people who are considering having it done and they're nervous, you would say what to them?
Oh, double down and go for it. Just absolutely great. I got a new lens. It's an incredible miracle, but a new lens. Pete, I've been severely nearsighted for over half a century, and right now it looks like I may no longer need corrective lenses. Is that incredible?
That is, well, a lot of people say that I talk to who've had it done. It's like, hey, don't need my glasses anymore.
Just a phenomenal thing. So, well, Pete, this makes it easier for me to reference. We're going to do Big Drill today with Macy. Macy Raver, you are the young kid on the block here. Younger even than Peter's and my children. You're that young. My goodness.
Hey now.
So, are you even? Did you just turn 22?
I'll be 23 in March.
Oh my goodness. Well, Macy won't know a lot of these classics, but you know she was raised by grandparents that had her watch John Wayne movies, and her dad and mom are pretty good traditional rural American business folks. They may know some of these. So, Pete, we're going to do the drill today. We're going to do the trifecta of drills here of Remembering Christmas Network TV specials, Christmas songs, and classic Christmas movies. Pete, let's start with the movies. We teased this a little bit last week, but I want your take on these. I'm going to do kind of some great ones and have you guys chime in here, okay? I'm going to kind of do a reverse order modality here, and let's see. How about, okay, I don't think you guys know this one. The John Wayne Christmas movie, Three Godfathers. I bet you've never seen it, Macy and Pete. Have you ever seen Three Godfathers?
Never seen it. Never heard of it.
It is a classic by John Wayne's greatest director, John Ford. It was made in 1948 in color. And yes, it's the John Wayne Christmas movie. Helmed by legendary John Ford, three Wild West bandits played by John Wayne, Pedro Armendariz, and Harry Carey Jr. become three wise men traveling in the starry desert as they give sacrifice and find redemption in their promise to a dying mother to deliver and help a helpless infant child. They promise to be his godfathers. Their destination, a tiny town in the west called New Jerusalem. Time of year, Christmas, with Sheriff Ward Bond chasing him down and Hank Warden. The movie was shot Technicolor and boasts great sound and visuals. Guys, you got to check out Three Godfathers. Macy, your grandparents said you watched John Wayne movies. You and the boyfriend have to catch that.
Yeah, we do. I like John Wayne movies, so this one I probably should check up and watch this season.
There's another great one. The Bishop's Wife, a Cary Grant movie. Pete, I was literally in the Quad Cities the same night that Cary Grant died in the Quad Cities, sadly, after doing his one-man show there, An Evening with Cary Grant. This occurred back around 88 or 89, but Cary Grant, dashing Cary Grant, more angelic assistance comes to the fore with an all-star cast, including Cary Grant as the angel, David Niven, the bishop, Loretta Young, the wife of the bishop, Prayers are answered sometimes more profoundly than we can presuppose when asking. People are more important than property, and there is a singularly unique dignity in humanity, a dignity that even angels can admire. Pete, you like angels, and aren't you married to an angel?
If you say so, John, I am married to an angel. If you say so.
Well, she has blonde hair and blue eyes. If now in my post-cataract curative vision, I would be even more appreciative.
Or shocked. So
well, Pete,
I'm glad she can't hear this. Okay.
well, Pete, you have blonde hair and blue eyes too. So, Pete, did all your kids end up blonde-haired, blue eyes?
All except our youngest.
Okay.
Our youngest kind of blondish hair, but she has green eyes.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. They're all eyes. Yeah. That's why you're a pilot. They always say the light-eyed pilots. Okay. So, guys, there's another very famous Christmas angel movie. How about It's a Wonderful Life? Macy, have you seen that with Jimmy Stewart?
I think I've seen snippets of it. I don't know if I've sat down recently and watched it from start to end.
You owe that to yourself to do that this year.
That's a great movie, Macy. It really is a really good movie. It just goes to, it really kind of shows how much you can actually be affecting people's lives without even knowing.
Beautifully said,
and how much
Pete.
people can appreciate you. Yeah. And a lot of times, we go through life really not in our everyday things, whether it's work or whatnot. You don't really understand how much of a positive impact you can potentially be having on people. And it's important that you think that, yeah, you really could. I was at Fairway Grocery Store just before we came on, and the guy working behind the meat counter was extremely friendly. I mean, very, very nice. Merry Christmas. Well, it was just like, wow, what a great person this guy is. He really kind of brightened my day. And it's just simple things like that. So,
Pete, it is. And of course, I love the movie because Donna Reed, just up the road from me in Iowa, the beautiful actress who co-starred with Jimmy Stewart, who was dealing with PTSD from World War II, brought some of those scenes to life when he's literally suicidal there at Martini's bar, praying. Even though he said he hadn't been a praying man much up until that, he prayed. His prayer got answered by an unconventional angel wannabe named Clarence. And of course, the town rallies to his side ultimately, but a man despairing early on in the movie through no fault of his own. Someone stole money from him, his business rival, and it looked like he would be facing ruin. And Pete, when that movie was released, it was not a hit. People thought it was too dark and almost too film noir scary, but it got that lease of life when we were Macy's age, when someone forgot to renew the copyright, and it ran nonstop on TBS for a full month every day since Thanksgiving all the way to Christmas for about 10 years in a row. That's where it really got its second life, Pete.
Yeah, we were talking about that last week, John, and interesting. And I ended up seeing it. I've seen it twice since we were together a week ago. It's been on twice.
I had the honor. It's been 12 years now. I played George Bailey, and I played him as Jimmy Stewart playing George Bailey for Community Theater in Shenandoah, Iowa, home of KMA Radio, the home of the Everly Brothers. We had sold out houses, and Pete, I loved it. Can you believe me hamming it up and loving a role like that?
John, I can't believe it at all. I'm actually shocked. Because you don't like to talk. You don't like to be a showman. You just don't. You're very introverted. You'd rather just stand in a corner.
I think at heart I really am an introvert, Like they always say, like Johnny Carson, once the camera was off, he was very quiet, Macy, I got a question for you here.
Okay.
I was so impressed the first time I met you because you were a good conservative girl. I saw the cowboy hat. I saw the belt buckle. I saw the jeans. I saw the boots. I thought, here's Beth Dutton. You would lace it up with a colorful metaphor, a barnyard vernacular if necessary. And I thought, I've got these 3 beautiful granddaughters, now a grandson, and of course a Christmas star. The obsession there is the Red Ryder BB gun, dual action. And you know what, Macy? I would love to get one of those, because you can get them now. Walmart's got them, I could get one for each of those 3 granddaughters and the grandson. You're a girl, obviously.
I am.
But so is my daughter. And my daughter, I will just say, she believes firmly in the Second Amendment. When she was in college at Briarcliff, all those boys took her out on weekends. They went shooting on the farm, okay?
Okay.
So, Macy, would this be good for me? Am I okay, do you think, to get Red Ryder BB guns for the girls? Now, they're only 7, 5, and 3, but I think it's never too young. And the little guy is like 6 months. Never too young to learn the Second Amendment. You're going to have the final word here, Macy. What say you?
I think if they get a little bit older, then it's okay. You obviously have to check with mom and dad first, even though you're the grandparent and you're a lot cooler sometimes and mom and dad aren't as fun. But I honestly, I think they should have them. Just wait a little bit when they're older and then they understand and be at least safe with them.
Now, Macy, I know that you are at home at cattle auctions and all sorts of stuff like that. Do you know how to maintain a firearm?
I do, yeah.
Okay, alrighty. So don't mess with Raver, guys. Tinsman, these all-American girls from the plains, from the heartland, they've still got that Laura Ingalls Wilder frontierswoman vibe going on, at least on the east central plains of Kansas here, Pete. What do you think about Iowa? We still got Iowans and Nebraskans left like that?
Boy, I hope so, John, because I think that's just the backbone of America, to be honest with you. I think that's fantastic. Macy, I think that's great. I think that's really good. I know some people a little bit older than Macy who are just like and feel just like she does. They're from Indiana, but I think hopefully the people in the Midwest are holding on to those real traditional values.
Pete, I want you to tell me which ones of these. We talked about the great Christmas specials going back. What did your family watch? Because I'm going to tell you, I would laugh my butt off with the Dean Martin Christmas specials because the singing was so good. Dean would always have Frank Sinatra on there with him, and oh my goodness, it was epic. You'd have Diane Carroll and Glenn Campbell and Raymond Burr and the guys from Bonanza, Dan Blocker and George Burns and Bob Hope and Bob Newhart and Dennis Weaver and Lucille Ball and Tony Bennett. Oh my goodness, they'd all be on there. Andy Griffith and Michael Landon and Paul Lind and Ethel Merman. Then the great Jackie Gleason, Honeymooners Classics, with Art Carney reprising his role as Ed Norton with Audrey Meadows and Jane Keane. And then you had Bing Crosby. And, of course, usually with the family, but that last one with David Bowie, so poignant. Andy Williams with his lovely wife, Claudine Longet, and his children. And obviously the Osmond brothers tagging along with Andy's family. Bob Hope always introducing the All-American football team. Bob Hope, whose greatest, guys, the pinnacle of American culture was 1965. The Christmas TV special, I believe the greatest one ever. Bob Hope and Raquel Welch in a mini skirt and go-go boots entertaining the troops in Vietnam is still up on YouTube. I still think it's the greatest thing I've ever seen, with the possible exception of Elvis dancing with Anne Margaret in Viva Las Vegas. America never recovered from that apex of 1965. Perry Como, the great barber, his last Christmas special from Dublin, Ireland, very poignant, very moving. Guys, what are some of your favorites? Pete, does that resonate, or am I missing a few?
Well, we didn't really watch those, John. We would, when I was little, we watched the claymation ones, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
So what are your favorites
the
again?
Drummer Boy and
Okay.
Frosty the Snowman, that sort of thing. But that's what I remember. I don't remember.
How about you? Do you remember Santa
Claus?
Claus? Do you remember Santa Claus is Coming to Town with Kris Kringle? And Bumbles Bounce, The Abominable Snowman, and Klondike Cornelius. That was my favorite of those claymation ones, or the stop animation ones.
Yeah, vaguely I remember that, John.
Macy, any animated or cartoon or other variety specials? Or you're so young that Mariah Carey dancing on a float is even old news to you, for crying out loud.
I remember watching a little bit of the claymations of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman. I think there was even like a little, I believe, Peanuts movie.
Yes!
That they had a little bit of a Christmas.
Charlie Brown.
There we go.
Charlie Brown's Christmas.
Macy gets the gold medal today. Pete, you know that when that debuted in 1960...
That was one of my favorites, Macy, was the
Charlie Brown Christmas. Always loved that.
Well, the Vince Guaraldi Trio, the great jazz music, but the great story about that, and Macy, I'm so glad you brought that up because it was almost an oversight. It may be the greatest special of all. Here's why. Not just the Vince Guaraldi music, but because CBS did not want anything about the birth of Jesus Christ in that program. Charles M. Schultz with Bill Melendez and, who is his other partner? Melendez and, I can't do it justice right now. We'll have to do that next week here. But Charles M. Schultz, he insisted that was in there, and he would not compromise. He wove that directly into the script, reading the Gospel of Luke on the birth of Jesus as it would be read in the school play after Charlie Brown was derisively mocked. His director left and says, would anybody tell me what Christmas really is? He was so demoralized and dispirited about the commercialism of the season. And Linus cues up the lights and reads the birth of Christ from the Gospel of Luke. Pete, did you know that the only time in the history of Peanuts that Linus let go of his blanket was when he was reading the Gospel and said, and they were sore afraid, and the angel of the Lord said, be not afraid. Linus drops his blanket on the floor. Watch that scene again. It's incredible.
When he's standing on the stage of school reading that.
Exactly.
I did not pay attention. Isn't it really? Did not know that.
Yeah, it's a great nugget. And plus, I was a fan of Snoopy. I always thought Snoopy was cool.
I like Snoopy, yeah.
He liked Beethoven, he liked World War I history, all sorts of stuff like that. He was definitely pretty cool. All right, Macy.
Yeah.
Macy, you have a nice voice. What are your favorite Christmas songs, Macy?
Oh, I've got a lot of them, but some of my favorites are like Silent Night.
Ooh, the best ever.
Oh Holy Night, that's a good one. I like it.
My wife loves Oh Holy Night. She loves it.
It's awesome. There was another one that I just went completely blank. Maybe a hot topic. I'm not a huge fan of the Mariah Carey song, All I Want for Christmas Is You. I think that one gets overplayed a little bit. I know she makes quite a bit of money on it. I'm not saying it's bad.
And almost as overplayed as Wham and George Michael Last Christmas. I hear that constantly.
It's not bad. I was just like, I can hear it once or twice. I don't have to hear it like 5 times a day.
Good point. I agree with Macy on this. And Pete, I'm going to put you here on the spot. The dueling Beatles Christmas music, how appropriate. Happy Christmas by John Lennon, kind of a melancholy downer of a song. Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul McCartney, very upbeat, jingly. Isn't that just perfectly emblematic of that writing duel of the upbeat McCartney and the downcast, melancholy Lennon, and how they put it all together for the Beatles, but you isolate them out and you get 2 completely different songs, Pete Tinsman.
It is really interesting. It just goes to show how opposites can really make great things happen.
It does. When
they get together as a group. But it's interesting how one's more upbeat and one was always kind of dark, I guess you'd say.
So Pete, when we were legal age, of course, back then, in Nebraska at Staskowitz's restaurant, before they would dismiss us for the Christmas finals, there was always, all I ever heard in that bar and restaurant, and I love my good friend Ron Staskowitz, may he rest in peace here, but Pete, all I ever heard was Clarence Clemens on the sax and Bruce Springsteen singing Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I always think Springsteen's been overrated, and I really never liked his version of that. What say you?
I'm not a fan of that song at all.
Okay, now what about Dan Fogelberg? Because, the lovely and gracious Mrs. Jacobson kind of likes some of that sappy, syrupy love song music all the time, Dan Fogelberg and all those Creighton boys we went to school with, the sensitive ones that would play their guitar and all the girls would, oh, he's playing a Dan Fogelberg song. I do have to say, Auld Lang Syne and leader of the band are pretty good. And Auld Lang Syne was an autobiographical story where he met his old girlfriend shopping and getting stuff there at the market right before Christmas. And I think they have a drink together. Does that song reach you at all, Pete? Fogelberg, Auld Lang Syne?
No, not at all. Yeah.
So... No sentimentalism here on Pete's part.
No, I don't have any sentiment with regards to a lot of this stuff. I don't know if you can tell that, but it's like, yeah.
So Pete,
some of it's good, but it's kind of like, okay, enough's enough. Okay, let's move on.
Pete, you have a great Dr. Christmas ER, doctor call emergency. Did you like doing emergency delivery at Christmas? Do you have any sort of heroic, bold Christmas great thing we could turn into a Hallmark movie in your life? I mean, come on, Pete, you got to have something there. You're married to an all-American model, and you're a physician. You got nothing? You're going to give me nothing. No Hallmark movie today, huh?
I have no Hallmark moment movies around Christmas time with work. I cannot think of that. That's yeah.
Okay, how about a summertime movie when you're working for Franklin Graham or Catholic Charities doing emergency medical mission work, flying planes, curing people, saving lives? That could be a Hallmark movie. Did you take your wife with you on any of those?
No, she did not come with me on it. No, she did not like sleeping with bugs and snakes.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her a bit. So, Pete...
She had no desire to pick up a parasite, so... Yeah.
Hey, if I get my second cataract fix, will that be a parasite that I pick up? Okay, thank you. I've been doing puns all day here, Pete. Not that I ever...
That's a good grandpa joke there.
Yeah, I'm full.
You call them a grandpa joke, Macy. My kids say, "Oh my God, there's another dad joke," and they just roll their eyes and shake their head and turn around and walk away.
There's a fine line. I think there's some dad jokes, but I know when he's trying to reach that hard, it's got to be a grandpa joke.
That's a grandpa joke. Okay.
Exactly. So Petros,
she's really aging you and John. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm old enough to be your parents' father. That's what we always remind her of. Her mother is young enough to be my daughter.
Macy, you said your parents are in their 40s. Is that right?
Late 40s, early 50s, yeah.
Her mom's like 46, so she could be my daughter very easily. Yeah.
She could very easily be your daughter.
Which means Macy could be my granddaughter. It's very depressing, So if Macy marries this young man that she's dating and they have children, then that child will be young enough to be my great-grandchild, in theory, from generational. Right. So I'm closer in age to Trump than I am to Macy's parents, okay? So anyway, and Trump's going to be 80. So Pete,
wow.
Last bit of advice, you're the doctor. As we go out again, we've got all these people that are stressed, they're sick, they're worried about finances, they're shoveling snow, 50 pounds overweight, they're overeating, they're overdrinking. You're a physician. Can you give some general chill advice to keep people thriving and aliving and happy and healthy over what's really a tough time? I mean, you got people with seasonal affective disorder and they're not getting vitamin D. Just a couple quick hits on the way out, Pete, to give people a little advice to put a little more merriment in their stocking.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think people need to be realistic about their celebration, and not to get stressed out by trying to create, the perfect Christmas. I know my wife falls into that for sure. She wants to make it perfect every year, and that causes a lot of stress. And just be realistic. It's good to have a plan, and when you have that plan in place, for all your different, Christmas activities, that's good. You just refer to that plan, you stick with that plan, but you also have to be, flexible, realize that, plans usually don't go as you want them to. It's important to be exercising, and that's a good way to relieve stress and anxiety. And, it is okay to say no. If you've got too much on your plate, it's okay to let, your friends and family know that, I just can't do this. No, I can't come. My daughter, perfect example, it's like we've got family coming into town this weekend and into Davenport, and she lives in Chicago. And it's like, hey, can you come and, see your cousins and, be with that? And she's like, not on a Sunday night, Dad, because we got to get up early and be at work on Monday morning. We don't want to drive late at night from, the Quad Cities back to Chicago. And am I disappointed she won't be there? Yeah, I am. Do I understand? Yes. But she's understood the fact that at some point you need to draw a line and say no. Actually, me saying yes is going to give me stress and make me not happy. And so that's okay to do that. And it's important to try to set aside the differences you have with family. I saw something on Instagram, or Heather showed me something on Instagram around Thanksgiving time and said, if you'd like to save money on Christmas presents than start talking politics at Thanksgiving. You get mad at somebody, you know.
Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth?
You know, and as I've always kind of said to our kids, you know, the best gifts cost nothing.
Right.
You know, and people sometimes, you try to outdo somebody else, and that's not what this is about.
Well, Pete, what has really helped our marriage over 38 years is that Deb and I do not watch the Iowa-Nebraska football game together the day after Thanksgiving ever, because it would not be good. Because she loves her Huskers, I love my Hawkeyes, and that's just a bridge too far. I mean, it might even be easier for us to be of a different religion. I mean, we're the same religion, but
right. Yeah.
That Hawkeye Husker divide is so wide that's a chasm we cannot connect up there. So we watch that in separate quarters.
Oh, jeez. That's pretty intense. I think you need to let that go. I think you need to work on that and sit and watch it together. One of my sons, his wife, my son's a fanatic Packer fan.
He's a good man. I like him already. Yeah, he's raised well.
A huge Chicago Bear fan. She's a huge Chicago Bear fan.
Oh, that's the rivalry of all rivalries. Yes.
They play this.
Oh my goodness.
I guess they play Saturday. They play Saturday
for all the marbles.
So.
For the number one slot in the division. This for all the marbles, yeah.
Yeah.
Big game.
Yeah.
So, this is great.
Anyway, so that's, it's okay to say to people that you're sad.
It is.
It is okay, and it's like, well, how you doing? I'm doing great. Well, no, I'm not really doing great. I feel terrible, and I'm really down, and it's okay to say, I'm just kind of sad today.
Yeah.
Really? Well, tell me about it. Why?
Exactly.
And that can help. But
absolutely.
When I did, when I was on my very first Central America trip was in Nicaragua, one of the people said, keep in mind, how you interact with people today, because you may and what you say to a person, you may very well be the answer to their prayers.
Wow.
And that's pretty powerful. And ever since I've heard that, I've been very well aware of that. And not only what I say to people, or when somebody says something to me, I'm like, wow, I really needed to hear that. And when we're feeling down and sad, depressed or anxious, a lot of times we feel that we're the only one, that we're there all alone dealing with this. And in all reality, a lot of people have these little tendencies that we feel down at times. And, it's okay to talk about it. It's good to talk about it. That's my own personal belief. But
Pete, I think that's really, really a profound comment there. And, there are so many ways that we impact and influence people, obviously. And obviously, when you were down there were seemingly small things to you that could literally save the lives of people. I mean, when people can't afford, amoxicillin that you can buy at Hy-Vee for $4 a jar, that literally can save a life down there. Quite incredible, isn't it?
Well, and John, even less, if you didn't even give them medicine, it was just simply talking to them and listening to what they had to say, listening to their complaints, listening to why they weren't feeling well.
Yeah. Because
there wasn't anybody there that would listen to them. Because there was no place for them to get care. And so, people should just remember that. Just listen to people and,
Very true.
Say, how do you honestly feel? How do you honestly feel?
Very true.
Or this is how I honestly feel right now.
This is really well said, Pete.
So anyway,
Macy, when Deb and I are down, well, Deb's never down, but if Deb and I once in a great while get down, to get happy again, we pull out our wedding tape because Pete and a few of my other Skulldugger's friends and brothers who were in my wedding party on a winter wedding, sure that Deb and I would be kneeling there at the altar at St. John's Church there on campus in Omaha at Creighton. They had volunteered to wipe my shoes off because it was so slushy and muddy, and unbeknownst to me, they wrote, "Help me," on the two soles of my feet. I know Pete had nothing to do with that. And Pete, there's a moment on the film, on the VCR, where you realize that we're not going to kneel down facing the altar, but where we are sitting facing the audience. And you can see you guys all almost like click your fingers like, drat, double drat. If it weren't for those meddling kids, it's just like, it was almost like a Jerry Seinfeld, Newman, where you guys all have this look of profound disappointment, disgust, and defeat on your face. and it's palpable on the video to this day. And it's hysterically funny. I love it. I love it. I love it.
That's, John, I have seen my wedding video once. I think we've watched it once.
Well, I've never taped over mine like Ray
Macy,
Romano's producer did, which was an episode in Everybody Loves Raymond. Go ahead.
And Macy, if you ever get married, I had a daughter get married this summer, and she was thinking about having it videotaped, the reception videotaped. The guy wanted $10,000.
It's getting crazy now. It's getting crazy.
And my daughter's like, yeah, we're not going to do that.
Whip out your iPhone or something, and that'll do.
$10,000. You'd have it and put it all together, some, fancy schmancy production. It was just like, no. So be prepared for that. So when you think about planning ahead for Christmas and your budget, think now. think now what's really important, what's not important. So.
Pete, the best advice I got, remember, when I was dating Deb, was when they said, look at the mom before you really wade in deeply. Pete, the other night, this is so innocent that no one will ever figure out. My wife was inquiring about a former friend of mine and was curious what she looked like today. And I was able to pull up the photo because another friend of mine who also in high school was competing for this girl, as was a third guy competing for this girl. He had some years ago sent me an updated photo of her because he still evidently was, wondering about this girl. So Deb was asking about this girl last night, and I pulled the picture up, and Pete, Deb has aged better than any girl I ever took out in junior high, high school, undergrad, or whatever. Deb has aged better. She is the least gray, and her skin tone is the most beautiful of all of them. So I took that advice. It was good advice, Pete.
That's great. That's great. That's good. I'm not saying anything else about looking, what. I'm just gonna,
you don't have to, because she also did say that you were handsome, when you were a young man, So, we were talking about all the Chicos, and she said, well, yeah, Tinsman was handsome too, She did not say that about everybody.
Oh, that's good.
The other kid from Davenport was not on her list of who would be up there as on the Mount Rushmore of handsomeness.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right, fine.
But we were both of a certain height. Maybe he got DQ'd on height. I don't know. Who knows?
There you go.
Who can get in the mind of a woman? I can't get in the mind of a woman. So anyway. Well, Pete, Merry Christmas to you. And Macy, Merry Christmas to you.
John. Merry Christmas, Macy.
And Sean Torres, Merry Christmas to you. And remember, little known trivia fact, I always leave on trivia. There were 4 wise men, not 3. Pete, you know this, don't you?
Yes, I do, John.
Yep. Everyone thought it was just Casper, Balthazar, and Melchior, and that they were bringing gold, frankincense, and myrrh. There was a 4th wise man that brought fruitcake. He was immediately expelled and sent back. No fruitcake. It was not even wanted back then, Pete. John Jacobson for Dr. Peter Tinsman, who's going to do a forensic exam of that fruitcake. I think has been mummified. It may still be preserved. With Macy and Sean here, we'll be back next week to ring in the new year. In the meantime, guys, I want you to be safe and smart and good and strong. Love yourself. Be good to yourself. Like Pete said, just say no if you need to. Don't get stressed out. And guys, it's all about loving Jesus Christ. Welcome that Christ child who came into our world. Welcome him back into our hearts this year, and look forward to his coming again in glory. Merry Christmas. God bless us, everyone, as Tiny Tim says, and we'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye.